Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all really well. So most of you know I got married recently and I've started to kind of put out wedding content on my blog sophiehannahrichardson.com and my YouTube and Instagram, and I've been sharing pictures and so much stuff with you guys. And one thing I wanted to share was tips for your wedding day. So I've kind of realised things before, during and after, and yeah, I just thought I would offer those tips to you guys in case any of you are getting married or know anybody. And yeah, I just want to offer a bit of advice and just little things to think about that you might not have thought about yet. So tip 1. So my tip that I think is probably the most important one, and a tip that actually somebody gave to me, is to make sure you just take a bit of a breather on your wedding day. Now I actually took a lot of these and I would highly recommend it. Someone said to me, like, make sure you just go away with you and Robin and just take 5 minutes just to yourselves, and yeah, just kind of just to breathe, just to chat about the day and just to catch up on what's going on, because it does go quick, but it doesn't go quick at the same time. But there's just so much going on and so many people that you're talking to, and it can get a bit overwhelming. So yeah, but the things that I did were, obviously we had our time in the wedding car after the ceremony, and then when we arrived at the venue, I actually just kind of snuck away before going into the main kind of crowd of people. So I just snuck away, I went into the barn, I actually went to the toilet, I had a drink, I just had a Coke because I just felt I needed some sugar. I had a few canapes and it just kind of just took a breather, just took some time to myself before going back into the craziness of the wedding with lots of people talking at you. I just needed, 5 minutes just by myself. So that I did, and then we took pictures and everything, and then we had the drinks reception. Then before we sat down for dinner, me and Robin kind of went off. Everyone else went into the barn to sit down, and we had our own little entrance just around the back, so we didn't have to walk through the barn with everyone else. So that was nice, because then it meant we kind of had 5 minutes to just chat by ourselves, breathe again, and then went into the madness. So that was good. And then also we actually had a top table, just both of us. I can't remember what it's called. It's called something, but yeah, so we just had a top table, just us two, and again, highly recommend that. We had our top table at the top, and then we had 3 banquet rows of tables, and there was probably a metre gap, I reckon, between the end of our table and the beginning of everyone else's. So like we could kind of like look over and like not shout, but like talk loudly to people, but you weren't going to do that constantly. So it kind of made me and Robin like chat to each other, and actually it just kind of made me just sit there and look at like the whole barn and like everything that I'd created, and then looking out on all of our guests. Like, it was actually so surreal to be sat there like looking, and I kind of just sat there watching my wedding go by in a weird way. But yeah, I highly recommend doing the top table, just bride and groom. Really loved that. And again, it just meant you two got time together and away from everybody else. You got to eat first as well, and yeah, I really like that, because after that we didn't sort of really see each other, because it went into, well, we had photos actually and our first dance, but after that we kind of went off, we were all dancing and seeing our friends. So it was nice that we had that first beginning bit of the day together. So talking about that kind of goes on to my next tip. So tip number 2. I think that you need to finish eating first, because me and Robin finished eating first, and then it meant we had time then to get up and walk around the tables and go and talk to all of our guests. Like, we had a lot of guests to chat to. I think we had about 130 in the day, and then an extra like 20 in the evening, and you want to talk to everybody. So I would definitely recommend trying to finish your food first. Try and get your caterers to serve you first. I mean, wedding party gets served first most of the time anyway, but try and eat up quick, finish your food. And then yeah, we just walked around the banquet tables, just trying to chat to as many people as we could, just to kind of, not in a horrible way, but like tick people off. Like, we're trying to tick off groups of people because we wanted to talk to everybody, but you only get so many hours in a day to talk to people. So yeah, so that was a good tip actually, to just walk around after you've eaten and talk to as many guests as you can. So on the topic of that and greeting guests, this leads on to tip number 3. My next tip is after the church ceremony. So I know people that have sort of walked out the church, because you lead, when you've got married, you lead your whole wedding guests out of the church. And I've known people, bride and grooms, to run off and kind of go back into the church in like the back door, and then they wait inside for all the guests to be outside, and then they walk out again, but with the confetti. But we thought, do you know what, let's just stand outside the front of the church and greet all the guests and say thanks so much for coming, nice to see you, because I hadn't actually seen anyone yet. At this point I hadn't said a word to anybody apart from Robin. So Robin had already greeted everybody, so it's actually, I think, a nice thing for me to stand at the front and just say thank everyone for coming, say hey. It was a lot of kissing and hugging, I'm not gonna lie, but it was definitely worth doing, so I would highly recommend that, because it just means you've actually said hi to all your guests before you walk down and they throw confetti and stuff. So yeah, really like doing that actually. Yeah, so on to tip number 4. Now this is going to be talking about your outfit. Now I would recommend trying on your accessories before the wedding day. Now this is something that I wish I'd done. Like, I tried my shoes on, but I didn't really wear them in. But my shoes are actually okay. I managed to keep them on for 13 hours, which is ridiculous. But it was more my crown. So I loved the crown and I thought it was comfortable when I put it on. But I'm very funny with things on my head and I get headaches really easily. And after wearing the crown for about 2 hours, I got a headache. And I was so frustrated, because when I get headaches, I can never ever get rid of them. And I was like, so typical that I've got a headache on the wedding day. I took some paracetamol though, and I drank water all day until after our first dance. And then my headache went, thank God, and then I got on the June tea. But yeah, try on your accessories, because there's nothing worse than having a headache on your wedding day, a crown hurting, or your shoes are rubbing, you've got a blister straight away. You know, so one tip from me would be to try on your accessories and just wear them in. So tip number 5, budgets. Yeah, I went over my budget. It's really hard. I kind of just, it's not really a tip, it's more just some advice, but it's very hard to stick to a budget. I had a spreadsheet and I wrote everything, well, I thought I wrote everything on that spreadsheet and kind of roughly priced it all up, but you don't realise there's actually more to it than just getting suppliers and paying them. For example, like, it's just like things like decor. Like, I'd pop into town and I'd walk around and we'd go into TK Maxx and then I'd spend 70 quid. Then I'd go into a different shop and I'd spend another 50 quid. And it's things like that that I didn't add into my budget. So I feel like when you're doing your budgets, you need like maybe just an extra, like a row for, oh my God, Shadow's snoring so loud. Yeah, you need a row for like extras. So maybe put 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever your budget is. I don't know how big your budgets would be, but just put some money aside, which can be the last little extra bits and bobs that you need. You know, we had to go and get ice. I had to buy donuts on the day of we set up for the day before the wedding. I had to get lots of extra little bits that I didn't think I'd get. Even just buying some like scissors and sellotape and blue tack and string and things like that. You need to add these things into your budgets, because if you don't, which I didn't do, your budget is going to go over. So yeah, a little tip from me, just make sure you just have like an extras category for your budget or something. Tip number 6. Now this is quite an important one, I think. Don't worry about keeping everyone else happy, because at the end of the day, it's your wedding, you're getting married. You know, you're the one that wants to remember it at the end of the day. Everyone else, they will remember it, but they're going to forget. It's not important to them really. It's important to the couple. So you need to think, you know, you need to do what you want and keep the bride and groom happy, so yourselves happy on your wedding day. Don't worry about anyone else moaning. Ignore it. I know it's hard, like I went through it. It's really hard to ignore opinions and things, but you know, just push through it, do your own thing, and yeah, it will all work out in the end and you'll have the best day ever. And you know, if these people are that bothered and they don't come, well, you know, they've missed out at the end of the day. Tip number 7, you need to make sure you eat. So I know I get headaches when I don't eat and drink. So in the morning when I was getting ready, I actually forced myself to eat something. And I was actually hungry, which I was surprised at. I thought I was going to feel a bit sick. So I made sure I ate. I ate yogurt. I had some sweet stuff. So I had some fruit. I had a little cupcake. So I had lots of different things there. I had yogurt to like line my stomach and it's protein, so it'll fill me up. And yeah, I had little sweet treats and fruit. I had tea for caffeine to wake me up because we got up early. I had juice. Yeah, there was a nice selection of breakfast treats for us to eat, and it was definitely good having that. It's good to have a selection just in case you do feel a bit funny. You want to be like, oh, do you know what? I really don't fancy eating cereal, but I fancy a bit of toast. So it's good to just have all different foods there because you do need to eat. You really, 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 really do need to eat because you're not going to eat from like 8 or 9 in the morning till, you know, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon when you get the canapes and you have your dinner, because you're not really going to eat lunch before you go. So yeah, make sure you eat. Tip number 8. If you've got a dry hire venue, or you've got another venue where they don't have a coordinator, hire a coordinator. Now, they're not too badly priced. I paid £600 for mine, but do you know what? It's well worth the money. She was absolutely amazing. She's from Rock the Day Styling. I'll pop a link below. Honestly, saved my life. Like, I myself, Robin, and nobody else out of our family or friends had to do anything on the day. She was there. She got the caterers already, the bar staff who were already there at the venue whilst we were getting ready. No one had to go to the venue in the morning. She did it all. She set it all up and made sure everything was ready for us when ourselves and our guests arrived at sort of 3ish. Yeah, she was amazing. Even like throughout the whole day, you never really knew she was there. She blended in with your guests and the crowd. But if you wanted something, she was on it. She was there, she was doing it for you, she was making sure everything went smoothly, and honestly, highly recommend it, because the last thing you want is bickering or being like, oh, when should we do the speeches? Oh, don't know, do you want to say, ask everyone to hush now so we can do the speeches, or oh, who's going to pour the champagne? Should we get Prosecco out for the speech? You know, you don't want any of these questions on the day. You tell the wedding coordinator the timings, exactly what you want done, in what order, and it will happen that way on the day. So honestly, that is a big tip of mine. Get a wedding coordinator. Tip number 9. Another tip, make sure you tell your close friends and family and guests, anyone that's close to you, like bridesmaids, groomsmen, ushers, all of them, if anything goes wrong, or if they notice anything, or, you know, something occurs, you do not want to know. You don't want to know if someone's punched someone else. You don't want to know if somebody is annoyed or they didn't like the food or something like that. You don't want to know any of these things, and hopefully your guests will respect that as well and know that it's quite obvious that you shouldn't really tell the bride and groom these sort of things. But yeah, tell your guests and close family and friends that you don't want to know anything, because honestly, then you won't know anything that goes wrong, and it will literally be the best day ever. I've had people come up to me afterwards being like, oh, did you know that this happened, and so this happened, and so-and-so said this, and I'm like, really? Being serious? But it's happened, and there's nothing you can do about it, so you may as well just let it go, through one ear, out the other, over your head, and don't even worry about it, because you can't change it. You know you had the most amazing day ever, so it's not going to change that. So yeah, it is just good that you don't want to know anything that goes on the day. So last tip, number 10, prepare for the weather. So Robin and I made sure we checked the weather every day before the wedding day, like 2 weeks before, a week before, the day before. We wanted to be on it because we weren't sure if it was going to rain, and obviously if it was going to rain, then we needed to be prepared for that and prepare our guests. We were in a barn, on a field, it was going to be muddy. Did we need to supply wellies, umbrellas, raincoats, you know, the whole lot? If it was going to be really hot, have we got enough water? So just a tip from me is to make sure you check the weather and you're on it. And if it does look like it might rain or the weather might change drastically, make sure you're prepared. Make sure you've got prices, because obviously, again, this needs to go within your budget. Make sure you've got prices for things. A shop that you know where you can go grab stuff from, like Primark or something for umbrellas, and make sure you know you're going to be very busy. Is someone else going to be able to go and get that for you, or do you have time to go and get it yourself? So make sure you check the weather and just be prepared for that. And yeah, those are my 10 wedding tips. Hope you enjoyed this video, and please click the links below if you want to check out my Instagram or my blog for more wedding content. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.